Heavy spoilers ahead. During your time in Velen in The Witcher 3, you will come across many villages, seemingly abandoned by the wider world, as they live in swamps, bogs, and deeply wooded areas. Away from any form of civilization, it's commonly known as no man's land to outsiders. On the northern edge of Temeria, it's usually avoided or trudged through with great caution, and it is known for being an incredibly dangerous stretch of land on the outskirts of the free city of Novigrad and Redania. So I want to ask these questions. How have the many villagers survived for as long as they have? How are they able to have renewable resources to keep their children fed in seemingly desolate and barren bogs? And what is keeping the local wildlife from destroying all semblance of civilization in this godforsaken land? Some things that lie beyond the woods and towards the swamp, only the desperate or the foolish look for. Chapter 1. The Crone. Sister Crones, hand in hand, terrors of the sea and land, thus do go about thrice to thine and thrice to mine, and thrice again to make up 9. The ladies of the wood and the good ladies are common names for this trio, but our protagonist Geralt simply knows them as the Crones. A disgusting trio of horrible monstrosities, each more disturbing than the last, casting foul and terrifying sorcery to manipulate the lands and people of Velen, being feared and loved by the common person. The Crones are Velen's gods. But what is a crone? According to Webster Dictionary, a crone is a cruel or ugly old woman, and as stated in the quote from The Witcher 3 Bestiary, we can say that they have an affinity for the number 3. Thrice to thine, and thrice to mine, and thrice again to make up 9, which makes me think of the pagan deity known as the Triple Goddess. The Triple Goddess being seen as the feminine counterpart to the male deity, the Horned God. The Triple Goddess symbolizes the female life cycle in a single deity united into one being, the Maiden, the Mother, and the Crone. The Maiden is symbolized as the free spirit of youth and virginity. Many cultures place heavy influence on virginity, seeing it as pure of heart, innocence, honor, and worth. The story of the Virgin Mary has been told for generations in Christian and Catholic belief that Mary was impregnated and gave birth to a child without ever breaking chastity. This idea that she was pure of heart and gave birth to the Messiah by God's will to create the purest child, one who was born of divine intervention. The Mother, also commonly seen as Mother Earth, symbolizes nature itself, but also symbolizes motherhood, fertility, creation, and destruction, being a personification of the very earth that we walk, and the very seeds that we sow. And finally, the Crone, a woman who is seen as being disagreeable or sinister in nature, the personification of a woman from a bygone age filled with bitterness, the end of a cycle. Popular synonyms for the word crone are beldam, hag, or witch. However, crones are not always of malicious intent. Crones can also be seen as very old women with wisdom and great intellect, often wielding magical sorcery and supernatural associations that can bring great help or great destructive power of unknown ability. In Slavic folklore, the Baba Yaga, or Baba Jaga in Polish, sorry for my horrible pronunciation,
Baba Yaga
is a common personification of a crone, being that of a very old and very disfigured woman who lives far into the wilderness, capable of great supernatural feats, who is overall ambiguous in nature. Showing more neutrality than anything, she can either hinder those who come across her, or help them by taking over a maternal figure to the wanderer who stumbles upon her. In some stories, she is also known of being one of 3 sisters altogether, but there have been many stories considering the Baba Yaga. Some are tales of her helping local farmers and blessing them with good crops, and others of her being a villainous wretch who steals children from their beds and eats them. Which brings me back to the beginning. The triple goddess is seen as the personification of the life cycle of a woman: innocence, motherhood, and bitter wisdom. But the Crones in Witcher 3 don't personify all three of the above examples, except for the very last one. So who is the maiden? And who is the mother? Chapter 2. The Mother. The one that we can look to for love in trying times and support on our triumphs. The mother is one who takes care of her own and strikes down any and all who would oppose her children. We can potentially answer the question, who is the mother, by reading the book that we find scattered throughout Velen, possibly hinting to the fact that we aren't the only ones who have also taken an interest into the good ladies. Taking a look at the book, it seems to be very old and is covered in moss, seemingly an ancient text that we've found. Peering inside, we can see the short but very interesting story inside of it. Folks say they were four at first. The mother, she who knows, the lady of the wood, came here from a faraway land, and since she suffered terribly from loneliness, she made 3 daughters out of dirt and water. A long, long time ago, the mother was our sole ruler of all Velen. Her daughters brought her the people's requests and served as her voice. Each spring, sacrifices of grain, animals, and men were made to the Lady of the Wood on her very special night. Yet as the years passed, the Lady of the Wood slipped deeper and deeper into madness. Her madness eventually spread over the land. Men took to abandoning their homes and setting out into the bog, where they became food for beasts. Before long, Velen was drowning in blood. The daughters saw their land nearing destruction and took it upon themselves to save it. When spring came once more, and with it the night sacrifices, they killed their mother and buried her in the bog. Her blood watered the oak atop Ard Serbin, and from then on the tree grew wholesome and hearty fruit for the people. As for the lady's immortal soul, it refused to leave its beloved land, and so the sisters imprisoned it. To this day, it lies trapped beneath the whispering hillock, where it thrashes about in powerless rage. This is all of the text that we're given when reading She Who Knows, but we're actually given a lot of very interesting and important information from this book. We now know that originally the Crones were created similarly to enchanted golems, that of sea and land, but were enchanted using very old and very powerful magic from the mother. In a way, it seems that the mother was actually operating very similarly to how the Crones currently operate, asking for sacrifices and payments of blessings on a very special night. This specifically is a very important piece of information, as it gives us a hint towards the famous Sabbath that takes place on Bald Mountain once a year, where villagers across Velen feast and celebrate the good lady's will. We learn from a particular peasant that if the people are lucky, the ladies will come down and bless them with their presence, which is further implied as Ard Serbin is the same location we commonly know as Bald Mountain. It is said in this text that the mother went mad and started to bring about chaos to the land she called her own. The 3 sisters did not agree with her will and confronted their dear mother. As the mother wouldn't back down, the 3 ladies waited until the next Sabbath at the beginning of spring and killed their mother. It is said that they buried her in the bog, and from her death, her blood then gave strength to the great oak tree in Ard Serbin, which bore fruit that gave lively crops to the villagers. However, when the mother's spirit refused to leave, the sisters then imprisoned her soul to the Whispering Hillock, which we can still find her regaining strength.
went in the kitchen, stole a hunk of meat. Cook gave him a licking, strung him by his feet.
Cooked and bled him empty, stripped his skin off clean. Laughed and said, "How tasty, best sausage I have seen."
Cook's a stupid killer, shouldn't have ate the pup. Now we're light a fire, gonna roast him up. 1, 2, 3, the one to fetch the kindlings. Thee!
Interesting rhyme.
Don't know you. Go away.
I'm looking for the witches of Crookback Bog.
You looks like a witch yourself. The witches of the bog. We can't go in the bog. Gran don't let us. When my brother Zamek went missing, Gran said it was 'cause he went in the woods and got lost. Gran cried an awful lot after that. He could still come back.
What are you doing out here alone?
We's not alone. We's with Gran.
But where did you all come from?
We's orphans.
All of you?
There's a war, so there's orphans. Didn't know that?
A young woman got lost in the swamp. She has ashen hair and a scar on her face. You kids see anyone like that?
Ain't no lassies here. What am I? You're no lassie. Lassie's got tits.
They do. Heard an old man say once, when the army was here, he says, "I them lasses in the woods. They's dazzling the soldiers with their tits. And it's torturing the poor lads." That's what he said.
Anyone else here, besides you?
Meaning who?
Someone who might have seen the woman?
Like the six-eyed tree?
Tree snapped all year. But there is Johnny.
What's this talk? What kind of jabbering is this, eh? No one allowed here. Just kids. My kids. They're allowed. But who are you, wearing swords like a bandit?
You one of the witches of the swamp? I hear Crookback Bog.
Witch? Me? Nay, I've no broom nor owl and not one wart on me nose. Got a pretty nose, see?
Gran's got a lovely beak.
Oh, you darling girl. Oh, kids are so sweet.
You look after these kids?
They're my grandchildren.
Gran's good to us. Gonna be soup with scratchings for supper.
Kids get lost in the woods. I miss them. Seen them in the woods. No one has.
Just talking to the kids. Asked them if they'd seen a young woman.
I was a lovely young woman. Wore a long, beautiful braid my mummy did up for me. Had dresses with flowers on them.
Maybe you've seen her. Young, ashen hair.
Your betrothed?
Daughter, actually.
Daughter? My dear, sweet little daughter. And her sister. Where are they now? Maybe they've come to some harm?
A bit of help, please? A young, ashen-haired woman. Just need to know if you've seen her.
What are you looking at, children? Wash your hands, we'll go catch crickets.
Won't learn anything from you.
Aye, 'cause I don't know nothing.
That Johnny knows. He knows a lot. When I ask him something, he says, "Wait, I'll scratch my arse and tell you."
Ugly word. What you saying? To the hut. You'll stand in a corner. I'll make sure you do. You, be gone. Be gone!
From here, we can see that Crookback Bog isn't exactly a normal place. We followed the trails of treats, and we came to meet 5 children. All of them seem to be unique in their own way, and they seem to be kind of confused and don't really know why they're there. They claim that the person taking care of them is Gran, but we were told previously that witches live here. So we're gonna do some things to try and squeeze some more information out of everyone.
Can't come in here. Not allowed in here.
I just want to talk to the boy.
Not allowed. It's not allowed.
He won't talk to you anyway. Gran don't like you. And Johnny's made up. And strangers steal kids.
Just got one question for you.
Don't be asking no questions. You're a stranger. Not allowed to talk to strangers.
Can we eat now? Soup with scratchings.
You hear? Says he's afeard of you. Stop scaring my kids.
It's very apparent that Gran seems to be hiding something, as she's doing her absolute best to avoid us talking to the child. So we need to try and talk to the other children to see what's going on.
Why don't you want to talk about Johnny? One of you knows about him. The others must too.
It's just him who's pals with Johnny. They pick mushrooms and hunt snails. But Gran says Johnny's made up.
Does your Gran treat you right? She ever hurt you?
Never.
When we're bad, she cries.
She's scared. Says strangers might take us. And we'll disappear.
The boy who plays with Johnny, he must be brave.
Not brave, just stupid.
Sat his bare bum on an anthill once. But yeah, he plays with Johnny. He don't listen to Gran and goes in the woods, and then he's got to have a time out.
And eats snails. Yuck.
The girl I mentioned is in danger. You gotta help me get your Gran away from the hut so I can talk to Johnny's friend.
All right, but you've got to do something for us too. Play hide and seek. Gran never does. Says her feet hurt.
Let's play. You hide, but if I find you, you have to help me talk to the boy who knows Johnny.
He thinks he'll find us easy.
Means he's never hid from the black ones. No looking, and you have to count out loud. All your fingers, toes too.
1, 2, 3.
From here, we have to play hide and seek with the children, but you can also actually ask them if they just want candy instead. But I like to play hide and seek on this quest most of the time just because I find it fun. Let's see what happens once we finish our game with hide and seek and we find all of the children.
No one left hiding.
You're a wizard, right? Gonna show us some tricks when we get to the cottage.
No, we'll talk about your promise. Found you all. Now you gotta keep your word and help me talk to Johnny's friend.
Why wouldn't we? Promised, didn't we?
Gran! Gran! Bumblebee bit Yagner in the arse! Gran! Come!
Don't be afraid.
Don't know nothing.
I won't hurt you.
Where's Gran?
She's busy. Why are you scared to talk?
I'm not scared of nothing.
You're all scared of something. Would have told me about Johnny otherwise.
I'm worried about Johnny. He don't come round no more. Once, when we was mushroom picking, I saw his burrow. But Gran yelled at me. Said not to talk to strangers, 'cause then kids go missing. She worries about Johnny too, though she says he's made up.
Where are you and your friend's parents?
Dad, some starved, others were killed, like mine. One day, we went out at dawn to look for berries in the woods. Still some around back then. When I was coming home, I heard the yells, then laughing. Went up and hid in the bushes near the woods. My mum yelled, and the soldiers laughed. Laid my pa down by the barn door. His head clean off. And then my mum.
It's all right. That's enough. I just want to talk to Johnny. He could know more than you.
Not gonna hurt him, right? 'Cause he's real. He's not made up.
I'm not gonna hurt him.
Johnny used to be by, 'cause Gran liked listening to his songs. When we was picking mushrooms, Johnny said he saw a girl with ashen hair in the swamp.
Where can I find Johnny?
There's a little meadow on the edge of the swamp. This strange tree grows there. Look around. You'll see him.
Thank you.
From here, we're now tasked with finding the mysterious Johnny that the children talk about, but Gran seems very afraid to talk about. I'm just going to speed through finding him, as it's not very difficult to find him.
Tracks lead to a burrow. Wonder what's inside. Johnny? Don't be afraid. You're a bucka? A lutin? Ah, a godling. Not many of you left. I'm looking for a woman with ashen hair. Seen her? Tell me everything from the start. Where did you see her? What was she doing? It's important to me. Why not? What's wrong? Can't talk? Why? Lost your voice? Can I help you somehow? Want me to follow you? No choice, I guess.
After finding Johnny, we learn that Johnny is actually a godling, a guardian spirit that more or less hangs around outside of small and quaint villages in settlements. They're known for being very, very kind in nature and very childlike, but obviously there aren't very many left, as the world of The Witcher 3 is now starting to become more urban and less farmsteads and smaller villages don't exist. Let's follow Johnny to his little spot that he wants to show us.
This the place? Let me look around. Something's on the ledge? Something that'll get you your voice back? Guess I gotta make this climb.
When we climb to the top of the hill, we find perched on top of the cliff a little nest with both an urn as well as a raven feather inside of it. We also find a wyvern and 2 harpies, suggesting that this was supposed to be guarded for some reason. Let's ask Johnny about this when we get back to him.
Maybe he meant this bottle. Here.
Whiskey! Slither! Ringworm! Rubbish! Bumblebee! Flabbergasted! Ha! The sound of it!
Peter Piper picked Prince Proxima a pack of pickled peppers by the puntar.
Done celebrating?
My favorite words! Life without savoring the sound of surreptitious shenanigans is like licking snails through a cloth. Thank you for this, noble whoever you are. Long be your life.
Hang on a minute. I helped you, now you help me.
Would you turn this beautiful act of altruism into a banal bartering of favors?
How'd you lose your voice?
One morning I awoke and opened my mouth for my usual bout of singing with the thrushes. Lo and behold, no sound escaped. I tried and tried, almost burst a blood vessel. Then I went to the village,
'cause word has it the new cunning woman works miracles. But people began crying out, "A smudger! A smudger!" and sick their dogs on me. Do I look like a smudger to you?
Not a bit.
Well, I thought not. So it must be the Crones doing. Who else would curse me? Blackbird friend of mine located my voice, but I was helpless to retrieve it.
Couldn't ask a raven friend to just give you the bottle?
Ravens serve the Crones. They don't help no one.
How do you lock someone's voice in a bottle? Just wondering.
As am I, especially as mine's a voice to crown all voices. Sometimes it's like a forest brook, at others like a roll of thunder. And let's be honest, I talk enough to fill 3 barrels or more.
Somebody used some powerful magic on you, as a prank or just to be mean. I'm looking for a young, ashen-haired woman. See anyone like that?
Did I ever? Remember it as if it were yesterday. Soon as I woke, I went to empty my bowels. My favourite part of the day. Defecating to the sunrise, downright glorious. Suddenly, heard a bang, so loud it couldn't have been me. And that lass appeared, out of nowhere. Young, ashen-haired, just like you said. Wounded and panting to boot. She raced off towards the children's hut. Quick as if the Crones were after her. I yelled some unpleasantries. She disturbed my morn. Sadly, I'd lost my voice, so I don't think she heard me.
What do you know about the Crones?
They're as old as this forest. Cruel, vindictive, not to be crossed.
What if someone does cross them?
Might take his voice, might take his life. Depends on their whim. They're nasty, although they care for this land and its folk in their own way. Supposedly they always keep their word, but you must be careful what you ask for. Won't find them until they want to be found. See them until they want to be seen. But remember, they see and hear all that happens in the mire.
I've been to the village in the swamp, met a woman who might have been a crone.
Did she seem confused to you?
Nuts, completely.
So I'm not crazy. That's no crone. That's the granny who takes care of the orphans. Claims the kids made me up. Me!
An orphanage in a swamp?
What do you have against swamps? Lived here my whole life, and I heartily recommend it.
She ran off toward the orphanage. Kids could know something, or the old woman who takes care of them.
Oh, that old hag don't speak to strangers, and you're a stranger.
Will she talk to you?
I have spoken to her, got my ways. So be it. You helped me, and I'm no bore. Come with me.
So besides Johnny being probably my favorite side character in all of the Witcher franchise, we actually learned some very fascinating information from talking to him in this short conversation. More or less, the Crones somehow were angry at Johnny, and they actually bottled up his voice with some very, very powerful magic. Now, I'm assuming this is powerful magic because I've never seen a spell similar to this in all of the Witcher franchise. So, right now, we're going to get Johnny to come with us to go talk to Gran to see if she can maybe spill the beans. Hopefully, she will.
Good. It's clear. Not a crone in sight. I need to sing to Gran. That ought to calm her. Little Johnny softly gazed, fire waning pale. Pop! A spark jumped out and whispered, "Listen, I'm a tale."
You got your voice back.
I did, though I seem to have lost an octave somewhere in the process. I shall look for it when I get home.
You're not allowed here, Johnny. You shouldn't have come.
Calm down, Gran. Don't get angry. It's not good for you.
The woman I asked about earlier.
Forgive me, Gran, but this fellow absolutely must talk to the ladies.
No, she's not allowed.
Please, it's important.
The fellow will be quiet. Gran, please hear me out.
I found little Yagna when she got lost, did I not? Did I break Ginny's fever too? I did. I ask anything in return? No. Didn't even fuss about my stolen voice. Well, now I want something. Gran, help this fellow. Because otherwise he'll pester me day and night, even during potty time. His lass is missing. Perhaps the ladies can help find her, eh?
Well, since you put it that way, Johnny, I'll help him. Come with me. Johnny's a good lad. Though the ladies don't like him. No. Foul creature, they say. Don't like him.
Who are the women in the tapestry?
Those are the ladies. Ladies lovely, with power o'er all. Beseech I thee, answer my call. Before you a worm crawls, wretched and small.
How dare you disturb our rest, woman?
Someone speaking through you?
Good looking and clever, too. Where have you been hiding, boy?
I'm looking for the woman with ashen hair. I know you met her. Where is she?
Oh, he's impatient. Perhaps he only likes ashen-haired girls.
The young woman. She's my daughter by choice. I raised her.
If she's shapely, what does it matter?
Matters to me.
I believe we've hit a nerve. He's bubbling like wealth in East. Oh, that's how I likes him.
It's clear you met her. Tell me everything.
That was blunt. Well, perhaps it's for the best. Tell me, have you got bollocks? Do you fear woodland beasts? Oh, hard times are upon us, white-haired one. Brother has turned against brother. The land is soaked in blood. Evil reigns stronger than ever before.
A dark power has surfaced near Downwarren. It feeds on hatred and disdain. Destroy the beast, and we may be grateful. Tell you all we know about this ashen-haired maid.
Dark power? You need a knight-errant or a witch hunter, not a witcher.
The alderman of Downwarren will tell you all. Remember to collect payment from him after you complete your task. And now our servant will bring you the dagger.
A dagger? What for?
When the alderman sees this dagger, he'll know we sent you. He'll aid with all.
I'll talk to the alderman, but I can't promise anything.
Move, woman! Give the young man the dagger.
And you, White One, return only once you've completed the task.
Aye, mistress, right. On me way. Dagger. Gotta bring the dagger. The dagger. For you. Ladies told me to give it you. Here it is. The dagger. Place the alderman's payment on the stone. stone bear, stone shear, stone nose, stone ears.
From this conversation, we learned very quick that Gran is incredibly afraid of the Crones. Honestly, it seems to be with pretty good prejudice that she's as scared as she is, as the Crones seem to be very, very powerful and have a lot of influence over her, as well as Velen in general. From here, we're tasked to go to Downwar and talk to the Alderman about some issues that have been happening, seemingly an ancient evil that the Crones were talking about. But first, I want to take a look at the tapestry at the back of the room to see if we can get a better idea as to what exactly we're dealing with here. The one on the far right with black hair wears a conical hat and is holding her skirt to reveal 2 legs. The one in the middle is holding a woven basket with a chicken sitting in it, as well as a knife in her other hand. Lastly, the woman on the left is holding a severed ear, looking as if she's to put it into the basket or offering it to the woman in the middle. Overarching all of them is an eye over a dark background, with unknown text scrawled across the tapestry. We learn that the women in the tapestry speak through Gran, their servant. We then travel to Downwarren, a town north of Crookback Bog. Upon arriving,
Greetings.
we speak to the Alderman, and he has this to say.
Nice village.
Aye,
A real pearl of the swamps.
if you say so.
You get by all right?
Aye, winter to winter. Somehow we survive.
Recognize this dagger?
Aye, master. I didn't know you belonged to them.
Besides that being one of the most awkward starts to a conversation, we're actually given some very interesting dialogue, especially when choosing the glad we understand each other dialogue option.
So you know who sent me. Good. Easier that way.
Forgive me. I didn't know you came from the Ladies of the Wood.
They help you often?
From the time of his cutting, every man is theirs. They be harsh mistresses, but they're fair. Just. Demanding they can be, but then nothing in life comes easy. Who drove off the plaguey heirs? Who gave us seeds to plant? Round the other villages, they be eating the soles of their boots, whereas we get along well enough.
Hear about an ashen-haired woman meeting the Ladies of the Wood?
I ain't heard nothing about that. Beg your question to the ladies, and they may answer. They knows all that happens in Velen.
They got informers?
The woods listen for them. A lone word at an ill hour can arouse their wrath, but they hear pleas and prayers as well. Once a swineherd lost a sow, sat and cried at the crossroads. The sow ran out of the trees as if chased by a devil, straight to the swineherd.
Ever meet the Ladies of the Wood?
Never. They only shows themselves to the chosen. Perchance one day, I too will be summoned.
I'm supposed to help solve your problem. Tell me what it is. Just the essentials.
The war awoke an ancient power. An evil one that feeds on bloodshed. Nightmares haunt our nights and days. Folks sleepwalk from their homes, never to return. Under the tree on the Whispering Hillock they lie. Unburied all, fathers, sons, daughters, and mothers. Folk are afeared to move them. You must go there. The dark powers must be cast off.
When did all this start?
3 years back. I remember 'twas a warm day. Went to check the snares for game. I pulled a hare from me trap. It grew dark all of a sudden, though it was nigh on noontime. Thought it was a storm at first. A squeal pierced the air, near burst me ears. The hare rotted in me hands, and the leaves shriveled and yellowed, though it were yet the start of summer. Times have been ill ever since. Folks' teeth turn black as charcoal. Women folk fight like polecats, bawling and brawling over nothing. The young'uns, born crippled, lame, fear and cursing. Long have we pled for the ladies' help.
Need more details.
You must see for yourself. Me gran's mum whacked me crosswise for straying near the Whispering Hillock. But what happens there now's a wonder. A few times folk from round here gathered to chop down the trees and burn the cursed soil back to use. None returned. The ground neath the weeds is white with human bones.
Ladies of the Wood don't know what this power is?
They know all. Old Thekla claimed they'd be punishing us. Folk stopped respecting them. Some even call them witches. But must not be they, for they sent you.
I'll look around the Whispering Hillock.
You be careful, Master Witcher. Don't ye treat this evil light.
From this dialogue, the alderman speaks almost afeared and humbled, even goes so far as to say that from the time of his cutting, every man is theirs. Seemingly, the Crones like to have a feeling of ownership over the people that serve them. We actually do have proof of this lore. The cutting is a ritual that the villagers use to signify the coming of age of young men. The ritual entails cutting the hair of young men for the first time in their lives, showing that they are no longer children, and now belong to the ladies and serve only them. Wispis then takes this hair from this ritual and weaves it into the tapestries that predict the future, as well as some other events that happen in the universe. We can see that in the tapestry in the Crone's lair. By talking to the alderman in Downwarren, we learn that people have been afflicted with horrible nightmares, and even some have started to sleepwalk towards the Whispering Hillock and end up being discovered as dead. All where the obscure mother of the Crones has been regaining strength ever since the Third War of Nilfgaard began, feeding off of the negative energy from all of the death and destruction. As we move towards the Whispering Hillock, we begin to hear the whispers of a disembodied voice.
Be gone. Come no closer. I know whence you come.
Using our Witcher senses, we can actually hear a rhythmic and jarring sound, almost that of a heartbeat. As we search for an entrance, we actually come across a werewolf guarding the entrance to the cave underneath the tree. We're going to need to have to fight this werewolf and kill it before we're able to move forward.
Show yourself. I want to talk.
With the werewolf dead, we can now descend into the darkness of the cavern to see what lies beyond. Upon further investigation, we discover that there is a massive and grotesque heart beating rather disturbingly underneath the massive tree. We can then start dialogue with it.
Why have you come? Why spill this blood? Are you here to grant me death? Or is my freedom your wish?
From this opening dialogue, we have a few options for dialogue. We can ask, who is this heart?
Who are you?
I abandoned my circle, where I kept the balance. The Crones killed me, and cursed my ghost.
Never heard of a druid circle in Velen.
I wander eternally through a maze of vows, helplessly sliding over a sea.
We more or less learn that this heart was the one that once opposed the Crones and was imprisoned by them. By the way the heart describes it, it almost sounds like a purgatory realm that it's trapped in, while somehow still being conscious in our realm. We can then ask what they know about the Crones.
Must know the Crones pretty well.
They are Velen's curse. They hear all through severed ears. They weave hair and twist lives. They take their strength from the broth of human flesh.
In the heart's words, they say that the Crones are Velen's curse, implying that they aren't the good ladies that the villagers know them to be. making them more jealous and violent and demanding than other so-called guardian spirits, implying that they use very cosmic, ancient, and dark magic to manipulate the people of Velen through surveilling and using the villagers' naivete against them, as well as their fear of them. We can then ask the heart why the Crones killed it.
Why did they kill you?
The Crones want this land. They'd rule the wood alone. I stood in their way. I had to die.
From this dialogue, it implies that they are very territorial and jealous, not unlike another beast that I wish to cover in the future on this channel, the Leshen. This gives us another option for dialogue, asking why we were attacked by the werewolf outside of the Heart's prison.
I was attacked.
This is my prison. A fortress besieged. Murderers I await, and my forest protects me.
Murderers?
Murderous sisters killed my body. Now my soul they hunt, for I defy them.
This bit of dialogue implies in the Heart's defense that it expects to be hunted down and killed at any moment. So they manipulate beasts to defend them, which again also sounds very similar in a lot of ways to a Leshen and how it's able to summon familiars who would defy its will. But that's a topic for another time. We can then ask a very important piece of dialogue that will progress the quest.
You claim to be imprisoned. How so?
I am bound here in fetters of magic. I wandered endlessly, a labyrinth of thieves. The children, I know all. I know what awaits them. Free me, please. I must help.
If something threatens the orphans, I'll help them myself.
The children have been taken. Free me, please. I can be a gale, a gallop unchained. I shall save them. Only I can.
So this bit of dialogue gives us a lot of information, further reinforcing the point I made about the heart being stuck in almost a purgatory dimension, saying that it wanders endlessly, similar to our world's understanding of purgatory. A state between life and death, not fully being able to move on to the next plane or being able to come back. The heart also mentions the children that we came across in Crookback Bog can be freed of their fate, and implies that they're in grave danger. The heart mentions that only it can save the children. We can then ask the heart to elaborate on what it meant by the children being in danger.
Why do you think the kids from the meadow are in danger?
The sisters took them. They shall not return.
Where'd they take them? I can help.
It is done already. It cannot be undone. There are no rules to our serving. They shall all die. Let them be saved.
Here, we are told that the children were taken to Ard Serban, also known as Bald Mountain. This is the place where we know that the Crones have their famous Sabbath once a year. Based on this dialogue and what we see transpire at Bald Mountain as Ciri, we can guess pretty easily as to what the Crones intend to do with the children and what their fate's going to be. We can then ask one last question before making a decision of the fate of the heart. What the heart knows about the Crones.
The Crones. What do you know about them?
The sisters are older than the oldest trees. Velen is their realm. All life here serves them. The sisters live concealed. You will not find them. They hear all. You cannot hide.
This last piece adds a lot to what I was saying before, about them almost being the gods of Velen, hiding in ambiguity but still having overarching power over all who live in this place. A truly terrifying point to be made indeed. Lastly, we are given 3 things to say to the heart in the tree. I'll go over each of them, Firstly, we can choose to just do nothing because we can't decide what to do at this time.
I can't decide just yet.
You must come back. Free me. I beg you. Beware my sentries. They stand guard still.
This doesn't really move the quest forward in any way, so I'm just going to show the next dialogue option.
I'm back.
I've been waiting. You've returned. Your decision. I long to be free once more.
The simplest decision is just not to trust the heart spirit and kill it in its unpowered state.
I don't believe you, Spirit. Too many claim you're evil. Your words alone, not enough.
Dare to harm me, and against you will rise all the powers of nature.
Upon this decision, you will be given this dialogue option with the villagers of Downwarren as they stand over the body of the werewolf we fought earlier.
Solved your problem. Just in case, though, avoid the Whispering Hillock for a while.
Cannot be. Where's something lurking there?
An evil spirit had possessed a tree on the hill. It was responsible for the killings.
How'd ye dispel this evil?
Some being had come to possess the tree's heart. I destroyed the heart and its inhabitant.
So it were a ghost. Will it be back?
No. The Crones, or the Ladies of the Wood as you call them, said to remind you about payment. Take it you know what they want?
Aye, I do. Give me the dagger. Be back soon. There's payment. Take it to the ladies, will you?
What the hell was that?
'Tis our pact. You're a stranger. You don't know life here. It's honest pay for their protection.
So, all those ears in the woods.
Put it out your mind, master. You soon be leaving, and we must tarry on, our young'uns and their young'uns after 'em. No gods nor masters watch over Velen. The land is no man's. He who wants to survive must seek his own protectors.
After receiving payment for the Crones, we then have to venture back into Crookback Bog, where we can meet with the ladies for the first time face to face. They reveal themselves amidst the whispers and moans of disembodied voices, and they show their true selves.
Sheathe your weapon, young man.
He's even lovelier in real life.
In real life, you're different than you were in the tapestry.
Well, bring it here.
You can bring it, not ogle it.
Never seek to cross us again.
We shall forgive you this transgression, for you've done well. Your children are plump as piglets, sweet as caramel.
But now we must talk to our white-haired friend.
I know that mark. This is Anna, the wife of the Baron of Crow's Perch.
She belongs to no man.
A fruit ripened in her womb. A fruit sprouted from seeds sown by a man she detested.
We helped her. She agreed to serve. She bears the mark. She is ours. Come. It is another woman who interests you. Speak, white-haired one.
From this first dialogue bit with the Crones, we're given a few key points of interest. Firstly, that the woman that we know as Gran is actually the Baron's wife of Crow's Perch, also known as Anna Strangar, the woman that we were looking for during the Bloody Baron questline. Secondly, that the children were brought to Bald Mountain by Anna to be eaten in a ritual by the Crones. Here we have a few interesting bits of dialogue from the Crones. Firstly, I'm going to comment on the fact that they look a little bit different in real life compared to how they did in the tapestry.
You looked different in the tapestry.
We're all dressed up just for you.
If you only knew how much time we spent in front of the glass.
Do you desire us?
I'm impressed. Polymorphism, a rare talent.
Oh, I'd suck every last drop out of you.
Ah, to be woven together with you? I'd be your best and last.
Not what I came for.
We can confront them for using us to do their bidding.
You used me to tame the Whispering Hillock. A lot of work.
Naught's free, brave soul.
Did you destroy the evil powers? Have you brought peace to our domain?
Yes.
So fortunate to have found so brave a knight, so able.
From here, we can ask two things. What did they need the children for, and who the spirit bound to the tree was? I'll ask what the children were needed for first.
What did you need the children for?
Need? We? They needed us. Our care.
Where are they?
They are far away.
Their troubles are over.
A truly disturbing piece of dialogue from the Crones, saying that the children's troubles are over and that they are now far away. A common theme with higher beings is their ability to speak in riddles, but still giving enough information for us to understand what they're trying to imply. I'm gonna reload my save, and then I'll ask what the spirit in the tree was.
Whose spirit was trapped in the tree?
That of one who once cheated death.
But she couldn't deceive you, brave knight.
You've rid the world of a great evil.
The fact that they see any who oppose them as a great evil shows just how vain and arrogant they are. Another very common theme with higher beings in the Witcher universe. The next dialogue option shows us what had happened when they saw Ciri in the woods.
Our deal. I did my part, now you do yours.
A word once given, we never break. The girl. Mousy blonde. That's what they call it.
Thin as a rail, terrified, exhausted. She could barely stand, the poor thing.
We cared for her as best we could. Like she was our own daughter. Wasted affection. She proved a very naughty girl. Mischievous. Stubborn. stubborn and selfish.
The young woman I seek never hurt anyone without cause.
You've not seen her long. She's changed for the worse.
Why'd she attack you?
She's no longer the girl you once knew. Wrath consumes her.
Don't believe you. They say you always keep your word, so tell me everything, exactly as it happened.
We shall tell you, brave boy. We knew someone supposed to arrive. We read beast entrails, saw the omens.
We would glimpse her likeness, a mirage in a puddle. She came from the lower swamp. We knew not at first it was her the omens had spoken of.
A child of the elder blood. The soul seed that will burst into flame.
She fell into our hands. Elder blood!
The blood of the traitress. Does she sleep?
Like a lamb.
Come, sisters, no point in dawdling. The table's set. The cauldron bubbles.
We cannot. You know she is meant for him.
Imrit will get her. He will, but not whole.
Well said. We'll just have a sample.
I'll take her feet. Lovely. Plump. Perfect for a broth.
I can taste it already. Very well. Get on with it. Oh, you'll regret that, girl. Regret it dearly. Come back. Come back. Come back.
From here, we can see that they're able to sense people with Elder Blood, as well as even predict events by reading the entrails of beasts. These indicators show that they have a much higher in-tune sense of magic, as well as abilities almost that of cosmic beings. As I've said before, their magic far surpasses that of our mages and sorceresses in the Witcher universe. They knew that Ciri was of Elder Blood just by seeing her, and contacted one of the generals of the Wild Hunt to come and capture her. This also shows that they have the ability to contact those from different planes of existence, but only seem to want to maintain control over Velen for some reason. However, they say that they even want to eat parts of Ciri. So, Ciri flees Imlarinth as well as the Crones, and makes her escape in the deep woods. This is what Geralt has to say.
You tried to kill her, tried to butcher her like an animal and eat her.
Her blood. The taste brought back memories of our youth.
Elder Blood. Extraordinary girl. But you know that. Such a shame she fled.
She escaped you, but I'll find her. We'll come back here together and kill you.
You'll return, you shall. Our fates are bound. And one will die, but it shan't be one of us.
Now you shall chase shadows and wander midst fog.
Each time you see her, she will be a mirage. And if you find her, the girl will die seeing you, handsome knight.
I want to come back to that last bit of dialogue that the Crones said, but first we must discuss the other choices you can make at the Whispering Hillock. The second choice is to save the heart and free the spirit that has been bound to the Whispering Hillock. This is what the heart has to say to our choice.
Deal. I'll help you.
Imprisoned for years, I shall be free again. Break my fetters. Blood is my escape. A rite you must perform. With the black of raven feathers, the white of my bones, and a swift steed. A mare wild and free, in meadows pasture court, dark as a bottomless well, black as the depths of night. Such a beast, no other. Gather these, and bring them here.
Here, we have to gather 3 things for the heart's ritual in order for it to be resurrected as a living being once again. We can actually find the feathers next to Johnny's bottle, where it kept his voice, up on top of that nest, but I picked that up earlier, so if you missed it last time and you want to do this ending, make sure to go grab that.
Got some raven feathers.
Find my remains, and bring me about. A wind-born steed, a black squall turned horse.
Secondly, we ask about the horse.
Why do we need a black horse?
The beast and I shall be as one. As when I lived, we shall be a gale. Nothing to stop us. A wild steed from meadows moist.
For the horse, we can gather from the dialogue that the spirit wishes to possess the horse and use it as its host body. Finally, we ask about the remains of the spirit.
Where'll I find your remains?
My bones, they lie in a solitary mound nearby, due west.
I'll gather what I need to free you, then return.
Gather and return to the hillock's depths, to the tree's rotten heart. Pierce my heart, let blood flow to be born again. I must first be consumed.
Go now, and return through the passage I have opened.
We must now go into the swamp and find the body of the spirit, as well as the horse that the spirit will possess. Once we've gathered all 3, we can return to the heart at the base of the oak tree and begin the ritual.
Strange bones. Don't seem human to me.
Let's go. Whoa.
Ready. We can start.
Let me fly, raven wings. Lay wings amidst the feathers. Place all beneath my heart. My heart you must pierce, and bring the steed.
I offer raven feathers.
Once I was free, I shall be free once more.
I offer your remains.
Once I was flesh, I shall be flesh once more.
Free the children.
I shall. A word once given must be honored.
From here, we're given a very interesting end to the quest called the Whispering Hillock. The spirit in the tree is now transformed into a horse called Black Beauty, a mare dark as night with red glowing eyes. The spirit then vows to save the children of Crookback Bog.
Solved your problem. Just in case, though, avoid the Whispering Hillock for a while.
Cannot be. Where's something lurking there?
An evil spirit had possessed a tree on the hill. It was responsible for the killings.
How'd ye dispel this evil?
Didn't have to fight anything or anyone. You simply freed the spirit.
You did what? Freed the evil so it can prowl the world as it will?
Did what had to be done.
Yeah, and if it returns?
Ask the ladies of the wood to help.
As we leave the tree, the alderman seems to be distraught and terrified if we tell him what happened. Here, we can go to the Crones again and speak to them about what happened.
You disobeyed us once more.
We are forgiving creatures, but you allowed the children to escape.
They never wanted to flee. They liked it here. They played.
Your punishment must be harsh. Now silence! We must speak to the white-haired one.
It seems that Gran, or Anna, now that we've identified her, chose to free the children. I'm assuming influenced by Black Beauty, as if we kill the spirit, Anna still leads the children back to Bald Mountain to be eaten by the Crones. The Crones' dialogue changes slightly as well when we confront them for using us.
You used me.
Lord, did you destroy the evil powers? Have you brought peace to our domain?
I freed the spirit trapped in the tree.
Hear that, sisters? Traitor!
She took the children. 'Twas her.
We made a deal. I was supposed to help the villagers. I held up my end of the bargain. They're safe now.
So, a mockery you chose to outwit.
The dialogue here, asking them what they needed the children for, also changes, as well as asking who the spirit in the tree was.
What did you need the children for?
Need? We? They needed us? Our care.
You exposed them to great danger.
We cannot help them because of you.
Leave it, sisters. Everything in its time.
Whose spirit was trapped in the tree?
That of one who once cheated death. You freed an ancient power. It will rise again. Elsewhere, beyond our reach, blood will flow once more.
What foolish things men sometimes do.
From here, they say that we've awoken an ancient power, and that the children are now in grave danger, despite the other choice, leading the children to be eaten, and there being absolutely nobody left to oppose them. Using the very specific words of "blood will flow once more," which is mentioning that very specific line in She Who Knows, that book from earlier that I mentioned. The dialogue from there remains the same as the first choice, showing Ciri's story. But with every deed comes consequence. Back at the village of Downwarren, we see firsthand what will happen if we free the spirit.
My lord, we'd have never thought. Speak, damn it!
Beauty? What the devil do you mean?
A great mare. A horse fiend. Folk done went mad, lunged at each other, murdering all neighbors or young'uns.
It's the spirit of the forest, taking revenge on those who sought its demise, driving them mad.
Geralt! Good, you've arrived. I've trouble drawing any sense from their canting. Should give 'em a taste of the whip to bring 'em in line, 'cause...
My lord, 'tis what they said too, about the mare, meaning that is the forest's dark ghost.
Who claims so?
The witch hunters passed through just now, heading for the village in the swamp. Some lass was leading them, asking after her mother.
Lass? We must go there at once, Geralt.
So you're still alive? You sure there's naught wrong with you?
As it once said in She Who Knows, it mentions that chaos ensued before the Crones eventually overpowered She Who Knows and overthrew her rule to become the sole leaders of Velen. By freeing the spirit in the tree, it seems that almost the same thing has happened as if it's prophecy. Even walking around Down Warren, we can see that the entire village is something that out of a horror movie. A complete massacre. Nearly every villager killed one another, and only a handful survived the massacre.
Where is everybody? What happened here?
There ain't no everybody. Everybody cut everybody else down. Brother lunged at brother, son at father.
What are you saying?
A black mare came, reared up over there by that hut, and then the madness started. Took a hold of folk. Mothers carrying babes suddenly smashed them against stumps, and the horror. Me tongue don't want to say what my eyes have seen, and me mind hopes to forget.
So long, Alderman.
Saying that the black horse reared, and only then did everyone commit the vile acts that transpired, it seems that the spirit had less than kind intentions. But at the same time, we can look at it from a different perspective. She Who Knows was once the sole ruler of Velen, until she despaired out of loneliness and then made 3 daughters. Only after the 3 daughters were created did her madness ensue, making people leave the swamp. But from what we know about the Crones, we can see that they are very territorial and seek to have power over every living creature in Velen in any way that they can, using severed ears to hear whispers and twisting lies to manipulate the naive villagers. I have a theory that the madness ensued because the villagers were beginning to become influenced by the Crones and turning against She Who Knows. And only then did she begin turning the villagers against one another. From what we gather from Down Warren, they seem to be solely devoted to the Crones, offering the hair of their children from the cutting ritual to them and cutting off their ears as offerings to the Crones. I think that She Who Knows was jealous, and just like scraping out cancerous flesh, she chose to purge those who would defy her and follow the Crones instead of her, eventually trying to destroy the Crones and their influence over Velen and its inhabitants, even through genocide. But there is actually a secret ending to this questline, and I'm going to show it to you. By finding and speaking to the heart before we actually speak to the alderman in Down Warren, we can actually unlock the third ending.
Why have you come? Why spill this blood? Are you here to grant me death? Or is my freedom your wish?
Didn't set out to hurt anyone. I was attacked. Had to defend myself.
I sense no wrath.
Didn't come here in anger.
Beguiled by darkness. But your heart, it is not black.
I can hear a voice. Can't see who it belongs to, though.
I am but a spirit. I am but a whisper.
Whisper to the wolves. Tell them to stay away. Who are you?
Once I protected them. Now they protect me. I protected this spot from the Crones. The Crones killed me. My spirit they captured, imprisoned me in the tree. Aid me. Free me. I wish to be free again.
We do need to choose to save the spirit by collecting all of the things that they ask for us in order to complete the ritual.
Deal. I'll help you.
Never seek to cross us again.
We shall forgive you this transgression, for you've done well. Your children are plump as piglets, sweet as caramel.
But now we must...
I know that, Mark. This is Anna, You used me to tame the Whispering Hillock. A lot of work.
Naught's free, brave soul.
Did you destroy the evil powers? Have you brought peace to our domain?
I freed the spirit trapped in the tree.
Hear that, sisters? Traitor!
She took the children. 'Twas her.
And when coming back to the Crones when the deed is done, it seems that Anna still had enough time to free the children and save them from the horrible fate at the hands of the Crones. I believe that the mother in this tale was the heart in the tree. Every bit of dialogue and the book She Who Knows points to the fact that these two opposing forces were interlinked with one another, which in turn brings me to the final chapter. Chapter 3, The Maiden. You shall return, our fates are bound, and one will die, but it shan't be one of us. Now you shall chase shadows and wander amidst fog. Each time you see her, she will be a mirage, and if you find her, the girl will die. This chapter is definitely the most difficult one to write about, because we don't really have a whole lot of information to work with. But this line specifically actually plays the most into the idea of the maiden. A quick disclaimer, a lot of this theory is kind of deep diving a little bit, so take this theory with a grain of salt. I may be completely wrong, someone correct me if you think so. Anyway, let's get into it. As I stated before, the maiden is one of naivete and childlike in nature. One who doesn't have the maternal and caring instincts of the mother, and one who doesn't have the wisdom of a crone. But there is one person I can think of who carries the symbology of the triple goddess more than anyone else in The Witcher. Cirilla Fiona Ellen Rhiannon, or as we best know her, Ciri. When we are around Ciri in game, she is very impatient and finds comfort in childlike pleasures. When she is uncertain and angry about things that have happened to her, instead of giving her fatherly advice, she finds happiness in a snowball fight. When she's angry at her elven teacher, Avallac'h, for not being forthright about his emotions to her, she is more satisfied by destroying his hideout than instead of being calmed down. Rather than choosing to train and become stronger, she jumps at the chance to get revenge on Imlerith at the Crones Sabbath and take him by surprise. Instead of having someone there to back up her argument against the sorceresses of the Lodge, she attempts to take them all on by herself and explain her situation to them on her own. If we choose to accept the reward that her father gives us for completing the task given to us, she instead takes it as a personal insult of us selling her out, instead of understanding that we did it for her. She just doesn't necessarily want to be the quote-unquote bigger man in situations and would rather blindly swing at threats until they go away. That is, until the very end of the main story, where she and Avallac'h are in the tower on Unvik. Now, the ending of the game depends on your choices that you made in those situations that I mentioned. If you made 5 out of 5 of the quote-unquote choices correctly, she ends up as the Empress of Nilfgaard and ends the war between Nilfgaard against the Northern Realms. If you made 3 out of the 5 correct choices, she becomes a witcher. But if you made 2 or less correct choices, she is seemingly dead in the worst ending. But all 3 endings share one thing in common with another. This brings me back to the final piece of dialogue that is told to us by the Crones during our initial first meeting with them. If you find her, the girl will die. She didn't say that Ciri will physically die. They said the girl. I think that what she meant by this specifically was the child in Ciri will die. She will no longer be the frustrated and silly little girl that we knew from before. She will become Empress of Nilfgaard, the ender of the final war of Nilfgaard, or a witcher, slayer of monsters, and finally, seemingly dead. But did you notice how I say seemingly? Up until just a few weeks ago, a secret regarding the fate of Ciri has remained hidden until my favorite Witcher 3 YouTuber, xLatalis, found this very interesting discovery in the Crones hut. We can actually find a tapestry depicting a very interesting revelation. However, before discussing this, we must go with Geralt to Crookback Bog one last time to tie up the last loose end.
Something here. Where's that artifact Kira gave me?
Who are you?
You know who I am, and why I'm here.
I do. You needn't. I'm no longer a threat. I starve, for the swamp is poisoned. I've no strength to hunt humans.
Crone summon you?
In my sleep. Once I had wolf dreams. Now I dream hunger, pain, and blood.
Where is she?
Out there, in the swamp. Is there no other way?
There's one. Find the crone. Guide me through the swamp to her.
And then?
Then we'll see.
Ah, the crone, what's she done to you?
Stole my daughter's medallion.
If I may, why risk it? The crone will fight. Like a hounded wolverine, she'll fight. She may cripple, even kill you. Find the girl a new pendant. Her sorrow will pass in time.
No, it won't. My daughter's dead. Go. What's your name, werewolf?
Barum.
Lead me to the crone, Barum.
There's a wolf den nearby. Wolf cubs inside. Carry them out of the swamp. They'll not survive here, or they'll change into some... I sense a wolf. And men.
How many?
10, no more.
Stay out of it. What are you doing here?
A she-wolf's been on the hunt the last few days. Killed a cow, wounded a man, so we set some traps. Stupid beast walked straight into one. Once she tires, we'll set the hounds on her. Have us a wolf baiting.
What happened to your ear?
Why does it matter? None of your ploughing concern.
face the she-wolf.
She's not weakened yet. She's raging. No, she's good as dead, but is yet to accept it.
Get out of here.
What? You dim in the head? Beast killed our cattle, and she'll keep hunting. Damn animal. It's the ploughing enemy. It's her or us.
My sentiments exactly.
We'll flay you alive, you wretch! All together!
One cub lives.
Come on, no time for that.
Won't survive on its own.
Lead me to the crone.
She's close. Somewhere here.
Go back to your wolf dreams, Baron. Save the cub. Go away, far away. Find yourself a comely wife wolf and live.
Let me help you.
No.
Remember, like a hounded wolverine she'll fight. She could kill you.
I know. Now go.
Patience, sisters. I sense him. He comes. You shall yet have his soul. His pain, his icy suffering will be yours, and you will feast on him. Soon, sisters. Very soon.
Come out.
I sense your pain. I see your fear. Look about you. Feel the hatred. You slaughtered their brethren for a fistful of coin. They would see you suffer while you've lost your claws, wolf. The prophecies do not lie. You cannot survive this struggle. Tyrell is dead. Naught but a small frozen corpse in an icy wilderness. And you are afraid. You feel fear.
You lie. I don't feel a thing anymore.
Now, despite that being probably one of the most depressing endings in all of game history, a recent discovery actually shows that Weavis was lying about the fate of Ciri. In this cutscene, when we see Weavis in her hut, we can see her seemingly fidgeting with something next to the tapestry of the Crones. After the end of the game, we can take a look at what she was working on. It depicts a tower, much like the one on Undvik, and from that tower you can slightly see a depiction of a bird flying away. If you're familiar with what most of higher beings call Ciri, you'll know that her name to them is Zirel, which is Elder speech for swallow or bird. This means that despite the ending of the game more or less depicting Ciri as dead, this goes to see that the Weavis' magical tapestry, one that is known to predict the future, past, and current events, that Ciri is actually alive, but chose not to come back. So to that, we have the death of the child. From one of the child's death is born an empress, a leader of the people, a witcher, an independent and sole devotion to her trade, or an outcast, unwilling to go back to her previous life. I want to thank you all for watching this. I know that a lot of my theories are kind of strange and some have been touched on before by others, but I still put a lot of work into this project. If you enjoyed, leave a like. If you didn't enjoy, leave a dislike. And finally, please leave a comment about the next entry that you think that I should do. I have a couple ideas, but I'm always happy to get suggestions. Thank you all, and good luck on the path.